a primary school teacher and education consultant and business owner of her Little Ropes Royale. We also have Seema, who is a qualified accountant, but she is also embarked on a journey to storytell. And you can check out her YouTube channel, which is Seemakhanlifevlogs on YouTube. You find out why, which is one of the reasons actually why today's topic on her views today is the power of storytelling. We're going to tell a lot of stories today, ladies. I hope they're all good. Inshallah. But of course, as usual, before that, we have our chit-chat with the ladies, and then we'll move on to News Bites, where we will bring you a selected article that we believe is really worth talking about today. But first and foremost, Assalamu alaikum, Seema.
Wa alaikum salam.
And you too, Selena. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. So I'm daydreaming already as to the storytelling aspect of the...
You've already gone into your own little fantasy world.
Into my own little storytelling mind, yeah.
But welcome back. This is your second time on Women's AM, so we're really happy to have you here. Since then, how has your YouTube channel been doing? Because you said that there's been there's been a lot of feedback that you received.
A lot of feedback. I think being more visible and people knowing who was the voice behind the stories really helped. Everybody's very intrigued by who is the storyteller.
So before you came to Women's AM, did people not see your face?
No, they hadn't seen my face. So I'm very camera shy. It doesn't mean that, but I am. So I was hiding behind the camera, not because I wanted to hide, but because I wanted the story to be more important than who I am. But people do want to know who is the storyteller.
Yes, when people like a story, they become curious about the pictures and who's behind it.
So what I'm doing is in every single story, I've done 6 really big fortnightly stories since then, and each one has improved, and the feedback that I've had has been just phenomenal. It's been lovely.
Tell us no more. Save some till later in our topic when we will be discussing the power of storytelling. But before we move on quickly, considering the weather, it's been raining left, right and centre here. We've had some good bright days. You are originally from Scotland.
I am.
What's the weather like up there?
5 degrees and drizzle, as usual. But you know, that lovely drizzly weather, it's not always negative, because it reminds you, and when it was raining at the weekend, we were cuddled up inside, and me and the kids, and we were talking about, just like that, curling up with a good book. It's raining outside. You're on the inside, looking outside.
See, I love that. We do complain about the weather a lot, but when we don't have that nice, cozy, slightly dull but warm, reason to cuddle up in your duvet and read a book and get hot chocolate, we miss it.
I'll make you laugh. My son, when he woke up and it was raining, he was like, "Yeah, onesie day," because it means we'll stay indoors most of the time. And then he just went, "It's raining. I'm gonna make dua because I want a Switch."
He wants a what?
He wants a Nintendo Switch.
Okay.
Yeah, but because it's raining, he read that, when it's raining, it's a good time to make dua. And he literally, just out of nowhere, just went, "I'm going to make dua."
Oh, that's so cute, though.
It was cute.
Linking dua to rain, I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
But just come back to Scotland. But it might rain, but you have a beautiful scenery to go with it.
We have beautiful scenery.
And the people
That's
are
what
warm.
I miss walking down the street and just every single person friendly. You cannot get down the street without talking to 20 people.
Can't.
Next time you go, take me with you.
I'll take you with
We
me.
went to Inverness and every person we passed, good morning, because we're Londoners, we're like, why are people saying good morning?
That's such a typical Londoner reaction.
That's the first shock. The first shock when I first came to London was I was very friendly as I am, and it was like everybody's on the tube.
Oh, Seema, please don't let us steal away your friendliness.
Scottishness.
No,
that's
where the storytelling comes from as well. It's all about.
You know what? Yesterday on the bus, a lovely sister got on the bus. She sat next to me, and when she saw me with a really cheerful, "Assalamu alaikum." No one does that with a cheerful face. You're lucky to get a salam. So I was waiting for her to tell me that she knew me or I knew her, because with my memory issues, I just don't remember people. But she didn't. She just sat down and thought, "Oh, okay, that was just a cheerful hello."
Hello.
Yeah.
Our reaction is terrible.
I know. It's so cynical, isn't it?
You know what? We all need to become nicer. We need to change this reputation.
We do need to change this reputation.
Hello, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Except
Nice
when there's a train delay, then everyone on the train are friends because they are united in their anger for the misery.
That's the first thing I learned in the London tube. Everybody talks when the weather's bad or the tube's late. Then you're friendly.
Oh, our reputation. We've got to improve
we have to sort this out.
Well, I'm a Londoner now, though, but you can't take the Glasgow out of the girl, I'm afraid.
No, don't take it out of you.
To.
But on that lovely note, I think it's a good time to move on to News Bites. So it's time for the serious stuff now. What we're doing today is actually going to update our viewers on the coronavirus, symptoms to look out for, signs, advice, help, and the things to keep in mind, and also not to panic. I suppose that's a big one. But first, we have this article from Al Jazeera. If you can just tell us the headline and just brief us on the article.
So, like you said, it's from Al Jazeera. I didn't actually catch the person who wrote the article, but it's called Coronavirus, All You Need to Know About Symptoms and Risks. Funnily enough, though, the article goes on to explain a lot of what's happened so far, and the symptoms are right down the bottom. But anyway, so there are roughly, the statistics aren't, secure, but roughly 70,500 cases across China. Globally, I reckon it's creeping up closer to around 77,000, perhaps 80,000 cases. They aren't sure exactly where it originated from, but they're guessing from a marketplace in Wuhan and transmitted from bat to human, probably through, I hope you've had your breakfast, through feces, because there are, Wuhan province is a place with lots of bats, and and contrary to belief, they do fly around during the day. They don't just fly around at night. They're just more prominent, more active at night. Okay.
Bats are quite on the menu over there as well.
Yes, they do eat the bat, and they lots of places eat bat, same as lots of places eat rats and mice.
I don't know why I asked you that question. It's just killing me right now.
I'm
sorry, I'm a very sensitive person.
Yes, okay.
I'm glad I haven't had breakfast today.
Yes, I hope you've had by now you should have had your breakfast, hopefully.
But it did originate, it's been claimed in Wuhan.
It's been claimed it's originated from the bat, just like the MERS virus originated from civet cats. So MERS was camel and SARS was civet cats.
Okay. So, but in terms of the update, there have been cases confirmed in the UK now as well.
Yes, so there is a ship that's currently where they've confirmed, I think, 2 cases for sure. There is a couple of people in the UK. There is a couple of people in the UK up north where so it has touched the UK. It is here. So what do you do? What does it look like, and what do you do? Unfortunately, like chickenpox, there's a very long gestational period where you don't present with any symptoms whatsoever. But when you do start to get symptoms, we're talking about flu-like symptoms like fever, coughing, sneezing, general feeling of horribleness and feeling unwell, achy joints. Now, what do you do? The problem is that it is also flu and cold season as well. So if you're feeling unwell in general, try to self-isolate, which means if you're in a house with children and partners, try to stay in a bedroom. And if you know you've had... See, the thing is...
Are you saying that we should do that if we feel unwell?
Yeah, if you feel unwell, that's... hang on, I'm building.
Unwell,
severe is different.
Okay.
If you're feeling unwell...
But how do we differentiate that it might just be a common flu?
Well, no, because flu... There's nothing common about flu. Influenza has killed more people than the whole of World War I, World War II, and the Vietnam War. So influenza, it's a massive epidemic, and there's no stopping it. So if you're feeling really unwell, you will feel on the edge of dying when you've got flu as well. But just keep yourself inside, lots of fluid. Don't eat anything unless you're super hungry, and if you are going to eat, try to sip on soups and things like that.
Also, apparently, it's been claimed that more people in Congo are dying from measles than they are from Ebola.
Correct. Well, and
why do I bring the Ebola into this?
This is a sensitive issue for me because in the UK and the US, we got rid of measles, and because of the whole scandal over MMR and the non-vax protesters, we now have a huge amount of cases of measles in the UK. It's come back. So, I mean, we can go on and talk about this, but in terms of the coronavirus, please self-isolate. Now, you will know your body. If you feel that you're not making sense, that it's getting really bad, call 111, which is the NHS line. They will take you through a whole range of questions. For example, your chest, is it cold? Is it clammy to the touch? Your blood pressure, lots of people, I would actually recommend that lots of people have a home-bought blood pressure machine, because your blood pressure will either go super high or super low. but the 111 nurse will take you through these questions. Then they will deem if it's worthy sending an ambulance, because there will be a level and a certain amount of questions that they ask you where they will say, no, you need to seek immediate medical attention. So please judge your body.
And also, before calling the ambulance, call the NHS line.
That's what I'm saying. Call the NHS line first, 111 first. They will then call the ambulance for you, so you don't need to worry. But it is the WHO, the World Health Organization, is saying, in the first instance of you feeling unwell, please self-isolate. And do you know what? I would say call the authorities to let them know you're feeling unwell. So, for example, you could, especially if 2 weeks ago you were in a shopping centre for the whole day, or you've just come back off of a cruise, or you've just come back from the Philippines or China or somewhere in the Orient, I would say if there's an obvious connection, call the authorities regardless, because, you know, there are a number of other diseases you can catch that are really horrible, like Legionnaire's disease from being on an aeroplane. You know, there are other serious diseases that you could bring. Now, there's a lot of talk about an antivirus, a vaccine. And the reason this is taking so long, and in fact, as of this morning, Australia have managed to replicate the virus. But that's an important step. Why? Because in order for an antivirus to be effective, you have to essentially kill the virus and preserve that while preserving it. And I'm giving it to you in the simplest form here. Kill the virus, preserve it, and then inject it into a human host in a safe way, which is what all of our viruses, like measles, MMR, they're essentially live viruses that are they're not dangerous because they're essentially dead in a way, but they trigger your immune system, because what happens is you put them into the body, even though they're dead, they can't cause you any harm, but then the immune system says, oh my god, there's a virus in the body, and they produce an antibody that matches that, hence why you're now vaccinated and safe to move forward. So this is going to take a lot of time, but well done to Australia. They've managed to replicate the disease, which is the first step.
Does this worry you, Seema?
I think it does worry me, because I think what I really feel for is for the, you know, this, we're very far away from it, but it's now reaching us by news every single minute, and it is something like out of, you know, one of those Hollywood movies like Outbreak or something. When you see some of the scenes on Facebook and those kind of things, you see Wuhan is in lockdown. I mean, this is no joke. Nearly 2,000 people have died since this outbreak. There are
so what would you advise people? I think suppose the basic would be make sure you always wash your hands regularly.
Yeah, the advice I think has to be something which is practical, that people can understand, that would be normal for any other type of virus. Cook your food properly. Make sure that you're washing your hands in between. Don't cross-contaminate foods. Be careful, you know, if you're going to, just try not to go to those odd markets which have those odd types of foods that come from abroad. You know, stick to your local produce.
So some of the advice being given that I've seen also is when you cough, make sure you're trying to catch your cough in a tissue. If not, at least in your arm.
The basic stuff that I tell my son, please cover your mouth when you're coughing.
Well, and products from China, you know, where we're buying products from China, so if they're packaged, we don't know how long the virus can survive yet. Yep. So, you know, if you're buying stuff from, you know, wipe your hand, disinfect the covers as well before you're...
Yeah. Thanks for that, guys. And for any other further advice, please go to the NHS helplines. It's on the internet. All the advice is out